the Sixers to the Phillies, one voice cuts through, giving you the real. He broke the stories, he started the fire, launched the whole game back in '86, never retired. Heroes crown him, yeah, they call him the king. Fur coat flashing, bling bling in every ring. He's the hardest working, great talking dog. Call in with your tape, but don't get it wrong. He'll call you a nitwit if you're acting a fool, but deep down you love it. That's the Eskin rule. Riding with the king, yeah, we're riding with the king. Howard Eskin show, let the truth ring. Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, he knows the deal. Philly sports royalty, bow down and kneel. Riding with the king, put your hands in the air. From South Philly streets to the Delaware. No filter, no fear, just the facts on the mic. It's the Howard Eskin show. Let's go get sight. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king.
Oh, and good evening as we're live on Wednesday evening before getting ready for another Eagles game. And I'm telling you right now, first of all, welcome. Thanks for riding with the King on the Howard Eskin Show. If the Eagles don't win on Sunday, and there's no way they're not going to win. If they don't win on Sunday, they'll just cancel the rest of the season. But we will get into that. There's a lot of things to talk about with the Eagles. Chris Sims, who I know is a really sharp guy. And I know Eagles fans don't like him because of his accurate analysis of Jalen Hurts a while ago. And we'll get to Chris Sims, but I'm sure it's going to be an interesting discussion. But first, let me thank our presenting sponsor, and that would be Stillwell Financial Advisors. Jeff Stillwell is a guy, interest rates just changed again. There's all kinds of things going on with how to invest your money and the best ways to invest your money. And Jeff Stillwell, really sharp guy, can help you out. He knows his stuff. Give him a call. Sharp guy and a great guy. 732-343-0813. Stillwell Financial Advisors. All right. The Eagles have issues, boy. They do have issues. It's just, I see somebody's listening from Arizona. Welcome to Arizona, where it's a lot warmer out there than it is here. I see Scott and I see Patty H. and Ted. Thanks for being a part of the program. We'll get to Chris Sims, and we're going to talk. Really, it's really the breakdown of the quarterback and some things around the NFL. We're going to do that. But before we do that, and then we're going to the things that the Phillies really have done but have not done. All right. But before we do that, I want to talk about some other people that are a part of this program. And one of those people would be Audi Westchester. Great. I say great. It's GREAT. Great deals going on at Audi Westchester. And the great deals are the finance rate. A great selection of vehicles. Audi's a terrific vehicle. All new 2025 A5, redesigned A5, 1.99% financing up to 72 months. And then the all new 2025 Q5 SUV, 1.99% financing. 1421 Wilmington Pike. Great people, fun people. Go in there and look at a large inventory with a beautiful showroom. Grab a cup of coffee and some snacks and get a great deal. Where are you going to get 1.99% financing on a new vehicle? You're not. Check them all out, AudiWestchester.com. And also, you want to make your property look really great around your home, front, not just the backyard, the front yard. That's what Piazza Property Pros can do. The front yard and the backyard. 25 years of experience. They can do all kinds of things to make it look beautiful. And you think about a pool, about putting in a pool and landscaping, fencing, whatever it is you want to do around your home, they can do it. A little fire pit, a little hot tub, whatever it is. If you don't have a pool, or if you have a pool maintenance and you can get a pool, you can trust Piazza Property Pros. Exceptional results, 25 years and no subcontracting. Here's a number: 610 566 2608, 610 566 2608, or check them out at piazzaoutdoor.com. All right, we are going to talk about a lot of things, boy, a lot of things. Before we do that, I want to talk about our what we're going to give away tonight. What we're going to give away tonight are Oakley sunglasses again. Great prize. We've had real success with that. I'm going to have a question, something that Chris Sims says. I'm going to have a question towards the end of the show. You get the question correct. Go to my website, howardeskin.com. By midnight, Friday, December 12th, have the correct answer, and the correct answers will be selected at random, and then we will announce the winner on Saturday, December 13th, 8 a.m. We're on X, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You can subscribe. Actually, you can click on, you're notified. I know on Twitter and on YouTube, if you subscribe, it notifies you as soon as we come on. And we will select the winner randomly chosen from all entries. I always try to have great guests, and I am lucky enough to have another one for this show as things seem to be kind of crumbling a little bit with the Eagles. It's not a full crumble because they're still going to win the division. But let me welcome in a guy I know the Philadelphia fans just love to no end because of all his positive thoughts from the early parts of Jalen Hurts' career to now, and that would be Chris Sims. It's a great introduction. Chris, I got to say, every Sunday night, I do like to watch 60 Minutes when CBS wasn't controlled by the White House. But now I watch Sunday night, the pregame show. I always make sure I watch the pregame show. And the team together of all you people really do a terrific job. And I got to say,
Howard.
and you're certainly a part of it. Sunday Night Football pregame show, PFT, Pro Football Talk, with my pal Mike Florio.
Right.
And it's just, yeah, he's a good guy, and he does a good job too on the show. But Chris, there's a few issues going on in Philadelphia with their football team. So I'm going to start it with this. The quarterback is an important position on a football team. How important, and you played the position, and people will rip you because you didn't have a long career in the NFL. You still played in the NFL.
Right.
How important is the quarterback position to a football team?
Right. Well, listen, first off, I'm going to comment on a few things. You're right. I get that a lot, right? Oh, why do you hate Jalen Hurts? Do you hate Jalen Hurts because his career was better than yours? Everybody's career was better than mine. That means I'd hate everybody. All right. So that's not the case at all. I just watch football, talk football, do that. The Eagle fan base, yes, they're on my Instagram mentions and everywhere you can find it. I will say, when I first was critical of Jalen Hurts, I would say 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10 would be like, I hate you. You're the worst. Would you shut up? I would say towards the end of last year, I started to get like 8 people would say, I hate you. You're the worst. And 2 would be like, hey, I see what you're seeing. This year, it got into maybe 7 out of every 10 fans. And I look at my mentions now and I want to go, it's still a lot of Philly hate. But there is definitely a following on my Chris Sims Unbuttoned podcast that are Philadelphia fans that maybe aren't so emotional at times and don't want to judge me just right away from what I'm saying. And I get feedback to go, Chris, we're Eagles fans. You might be a little harsh with Jalen Hurts at times, but we see what you're seeing and we understand it. So I do think people are seeing that. Now, the importance to the quarterback position, it's hard to even put that into words as far as what it means to a football team. It's, of course, the most important position at all of sports. And even when your team, like the Philadelphia Eagles, right, which is what I always say, almost an all-star team between the offensive line, the tight end, the running back, the 2 receivers, everything you got there. right? You still need a guy that can deliver the ball on time, deliver the ball to those other all-star type players so they can do things the right way, work in the pocket the right way, even though protection might be for 4 or 5 seconds, right? Still staying, moving in the right spot to let somebody get open instead of, oh, now I'm just running to the sideline and now I can maybe throw to a guy on the sideline or maybe turn the corner and run for 5 yards, but that's it. So there's so much to that. Now, what if he's not doing the right things mentally at the line of scrimmage and making the right checks and do all that? Okay, now that takes another leg of creativity away from us. Now we become a little more simple, right? So it's all of that that's important to a quarterback, or as far as his importance to a football team. And then when a quarterback is making all those things happen and doing it the right way and really playing the position the right way, that's when the team buys in. That's when the team starts to go, man, we're unstoppable. It doesn't matter. He's going to get us the ball or get the guy the right ball no matter what at any time. And that's when you see, Tom Brady in New England become a machine. Mahomes in Kansas City at certain times of his career, right? Joe Burrow in the Bengals and all of that. So the importance to the quarterback, even to a great team, it's unquantifiable. And we're seeing that right now. And I feel like some of the Eagles fans are starting to realize that, yeah, the team is really damn good, but the quarterback has definitely held them back in some areas.
You kind of touched on a few things. The teammates, they understand AJ Brown shouldn't have done or said as much as he said
Right.
earlier in the year. And he caught himself after not the last loss, but the one before, I guess it was to Chicago. Somebody after the game said, "Were the receivers open?" One word, he said, "Yes." And he just left it at that.
Yes, right.
So when you make the point that, and the teammates know what the situation is, they know whether he's doing all the things you need to do to help the team win. How much do you think the other players, a part of this is the other players knowing maybe he's just not good enough this year?
Well, I think there's part of that, or at least just going, he's not playing to his ultimate best here. And because of that, we're floundering as a football team. Now, listen, AJ Brown said some stuff early in the year where I was just like, why say that? Don't say it. Don't do it. Right. I'm a huge AJ Brown fan. When it became 3-4 weeks ago when they just flat out asked him, and what's the problem with the team? He just said the offense. I think he took a little leadership there a little bit, because everybody in Philadelphia, nobody wanted to hear the truth and really what was going on. And I know from that locker room, everybody's getting blamed. Coaches are getting blamed. Houses are getting egged. Everybody. And the organization's looking around going, wait, we're all getting blamed for this? And I think that's where AJ Brown was like, I've kind of had enough. Like, we're all getting blamed, and there's one guy to blame, and he's getting off scotch-free. And I think that's where that kind of came from, finally, to being what I would say almost a leader in the locker room, to say this has to be talked about and needs to become front and center, so hopefully we can get better at it, right? But yes, so within all of that, I always use phrases on like my podcast, what's there to be had, right? Sometimes you can go on PFF and they go, oh, the quarterback got a positive grade here, right? And I'm not making fun of PFF. They're all this way. But then I look at the play and go, wait, they gave him a positive grade? There's a guy wide open down the middle of the field for a 40-yard gain, and he threw the check down for 2 yards, and it's a positive grade. And for Chris Sims, or any coach I ever played for, they'd go, no, that was a negative. Joey Galloway was open. Brandon Marshall was open. Why didn't you throw it? We could have had a touchdown there. Instead, we got 4 yards, or you scrambled and got 3 yards, right? And that, to me, is a lot of what is happening there in that locker room. And it's, of course, affecting the offense. And that's why A.J. Brown, when he goes, where there are people open, he knows he's opened up enough can of worms, and he just wanted to say yes, right? And maybe that was the Dallas game after he said that. And if you look at my podcast,
might have been the Chicago game. Might have been the
Chicago game. You might be right. The Dallas game, I know I did a full breakdown on that game alone, just to go, look at how many people, I know this play. This is the first read. The guy is open, and you want to know why the offense floundered after going up 21-0. These are your reasons. So, that is affecting affecting the team right now with the ball not going the right way. And then on top of that, I don't think Jalen Hurts is throwing the ball to his ultimate best right now, like you saw the other night, or you heard from Troy Aikman. The ball was sailing. There was a lot of wobbly balls. It was kind of all over the place. And so when you couple not playing the game the right way in the pocket, not going to the right place with the ball, and sometimes, as you know, there's only one guy open per play. You're making life harder on yourself, and then of course you're going to make life harder on your offense altogether.
You know what? I don't. I had Dick Vermeil on one show, and I said, Dick, do you understand the quarterback rating? He says, no. I don't even get. If Jalen Hurts, I saw this somewhere, and I assume it's right, but you should never assume. If he spiked the ball every play, he would have had a higher quarterback rating than he did the last game. Now, I don't understand how that could be the case.
Yeah,
But
right.
regardless of all that, I don't buy all that quarterback rating nonsense. I mean, you can see better than I can.
It's a tool. It's not a end all be all, right? It's a tool. It tells us a little something, right?
Right.
But I think if you look at it and really what we've seen this year, right, as far as top end quarterback play from Jalen Hurts, I would say he played pretty good against the Giants the second time around, right? Even the first time around, he threw the interception that was big, but it was still a
Right.
pretty good game. Other than that, you look, and then Minnesota, they had the big plays, right? So other than that, I would go, man, there's only been like 2 or 3 impressive games, and I'm not sure they were even full, complete, impressive games
Right.
that way. And for up to this week, I mean, he was one of the quarterback rating leaders just because he gets 1 touchdown here, no interceptions, 2 touchdowns here, no interceptions. And he does that. And again, people look at that and they go, look, his quarterback rating's pretty good. And I want to go, it should be way better and everything should be way better. And if you want to sit down and watch a game with me on film, yeah, look at this game. He threw for 210 yards and he was 68% completion percentage and he threw 1 touchdown or 2 touchdowns with no interceptions. But I'm going to sit there and go, look, there was 4 touchdown passes to be had. There's another 200 yards of passing to be had. So there's a lot left on the field. And that's where the Eagles fans are in the crowd go, why are we in a tight game here? What's going on? And I've been here trying to yell at the top of my lungs really for 3 years. What's going on is the quarterback won't run the offense. He won't let the coaches even coach the offense or add more plays into the offense. And he's holding the team hostage almost to a degree with the way he's playing. And then, of course, his contract is he knows he's got them by the you know what too there.
Right.
So he's got a lot of power in that organization right now.
Okay. So if you had what are his other than he can't? Well, I'm going to let you say it.
Yeah. Okay.
Apparently, he can't go through the
Right.
progressions. What are his issues with being? I'll say, I don't know if you qualify him as a good quarterback, but he's not a great quarterback.
Yeah. I got you.
So, what are his issues? What are Jalen Hurts' issues?
Right. And let me say this too. There's a lot I respect about Jalen Hurts. All right. There really is. I mean, he's tough. He's stubborn. I do believe he's a good leader. He is unshakable, right? His journey, the story, all of that I really respect. You see me sometimes get frustrated is I get frustrated, but like we started the show here
Right.
with I hear it from Eagles fans all the time. I hear it from even football fans, and I want to and I go on radio and they go, "What's the problem with the Eagles?" And I want to go, "What? Everybody knows what the problem is with the Eagles in the NFL, and the public just does not want to buy it, and especially the Eagles fan base and Jalen Hurts." So if we got into it, the first thing is there's just very few throws in rhythm within the offense, right? Hey, take a 5-step drop, take a hitch, throw to your first read. There's so many times where, and this is another thing I get. Why aren't they more creative? Why aren't they more creative? Well, if you can't do 2+2, the coach isn't going to add in, now do me an algebra problem. He's going to go, wait, we got to get 2+2. You're not giving me any confidence that you can go to the next level. So that's the first issue when people go, man, they're not very creative. I go, they're not creative because the quarterback doesn't give them confidence to be creative. Creative offenses, are schematically advanced, have a lot of rules, have checks, right? Ask Caleb Williams what he's doing with Ben Johnson right now. I guarantee he's never done anything like that in his life. Trevor Lawrence is learning a new world with Liam Cohn, right? So, like, that's what a good offense is. New England was creative because Brady could go, what, Josh McDaniels? Oh, wait, there's a 10-minute play you're going to tell me here? Hold on, I'll tell the team the 10-minute play, and then I'll get up to the line of scrimmage and get everybody in the right place, and that's when it becomes creative. So, yes, he's not taking or making some of the simple slam dunk play throws happen on a consistent basis. And then within that, right, you see a lot of times with improper pocket awareness. He's tough, he can run, and he's probably for about the majority of his life been able to go, wait, is the first read open? If not, I'll run, I'll move, I'll do something that way. But in the NFL, it's hard to make a living constantly winning that type of way. At some point, you got to make throws and give Devontae Smith and AJ Brown and Goddard the ball because they're better playmakers than you are. So there's too many times too where I go, okay, we turned down the first read. All right, he was open. I mean, the whole play was for this guy. He's open. We turned it down. Now we're in the pocket bouncing there, and I'm going, wait, the second read, I know this play. I had this in John Gruden's offense. He's wide open. What are we not doing? And we're kind of bouncing and looking at the rush, and then we're going to kind of make a move and get out of the pocket for no reason at all. As we know, they're one of the best pass protection teams in all of football. So that's where it all starts right there. And it's just sometimes either the timing of the throw is way late or it doesn't happen. And then it's just not what I always say, the great quarterbacks, right? Like you saw Joe Burrow in Buffalo last weekend.
Yep.
The word I always use is surgical. It's surgical. It's like boom here. Oh, let me move in the pocket. Boom, there, right? And that just does not happen a whole lot. And really good offenses, yes, 5 yard completion, 8 yard completion, 12 yard completion, 5 yard completion. Ooh, now they're starting to creep up. Now let's take our shot down the field. And it's hard for the offense to really ever get in a rhythm or have confidence that the quarterback can execute it the right way when he's not executing some of those simplest concepts in their playbook.
Why do you think he has trouble going through? And he really didn't go through the progressions in college. That was the scouting
Right,
report coming
right.
out of college. He had trouble getting through the progressions. And it's tougher to learn when you get to the NFL because even the bad teams have good players. So why do you think he hasn't gotten better at being able to go through his progressions if the first receiver's not open?
He's had moments of getting better. There was even a few moments last year when I do my quarterback ratings in the offseason, and then I went back and watched film. I went, oh, like this is Jalen Hurts he's playing in the pocket the right way. Uh-oh. He starts to do this, the Eagles will never lose a damn game again in their life, right? But I think really the first thing is, like I just said a minute ago, I think one, he's a little wired that way. Like you talked about, college, whatever, he hasn't really ever had to do it to make it happen. He's been fortunate to be on some really good teams. And with this Eagle team, they've been able to work around it for the most part and set up an offense. And because they're so good, it hasn't really been exposed. But here we're seeing a little bit in the last few weeks where it's like, oh, wait, the defense can't just, dominate the Bears in the second half when the offense falls asleep. And then the other night, the offense makes the mistakes and all that. And it's like the chickens have come home to roost a little bit. Now you got to start making plays and throwing in the pocket and doing that. So within that, I think it starts, a little bit of it was a habit for him to begin with. And then the second thing I would go, I don't think he's always real confident in his ability as a high level thrower and passer, right? He's certainly not Burrow, Lamar Jackson, right? Mahomes that way. And I do think at times, just like the other night, I think there's throws turned down because he's like, oh, I don't have it tonight. I don't know where the ball's going to go all the way. So I'd rather not throw it. I'll be safe and try to run and do something like that or scramble and then find somebody to throw to. And I think those would be my two biggest things. But you heard I know the Philadelphia beat writers and all of that a few weeks back, they were going, in practice, he throws things in rhythm
Right.
and we all watch film of practice and he does it the right way. And then we got out in the game and he's going to play the way he plays. And the way he plays is not conducive to winning at the quarterback position unless the rest of the team is just kicking ass. And that's what happened last year too, Howard. Howard, we had about a 10-week span last year, and we can go back through it to where you go, no. They couldn't throw the ball. The Carolina Panthers game, other games, there was a bunch of games before the playoffs where you went, throwing the ball is an issue, but we didn't care because it was Saquon,
Saquon.
and the defense, and that kind of hid the issue of what was going on a little bit.
Chris, following up on that, as a quarterback, you knew when you had time, everybody thinks it's great. Oh, he's got plenty of time. He's going to shred that defense. But Jalen Hurts doesn't do that,
It's
and
yeah.
there's got to be a reason for that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it is.
Well, usually when he's holding the ball to that extent, he's usually not looking down the field, really looking for a receiver. He's already looked at one guy, he didn't like it. And now he's kind of just buying his moment of where I want to move and where I want to go. Do I want to run or do I want to get out over here or over here and then try to find a receiver and throw the ball that way? But you're right. It's very odd. Most quarterbacks, the stats would go the opposite way if you had that much time to throw the football. But in this case, yeah, it's a little bit of a weird vice versa thing with Jalen Hurts because when he's holding the ball that long, it usually means he's already passed up an open receiver, maybe two of them, and now we're playing backyard football. And playing backyard football, like I said, unless the rest of the team is playing awesome, is just not going to get it done when it's all said and done. Josh Allen is forced to play backyard football, right? And this is why I always say Buffalo's not going to the Super Bowl. I'd be shocked if they were going there.
I agree.
He's got to do it all himself all the time. They have nothing there, right? You watch the game, you watch the Bengals, the whole game is backyard football because their receivers aren't good. They can't get open. They can't do anything. So he has to buy time and make magic and then make it happen that way. So yeah, it's a little bit of a weird one there, but certainly not one of the Jalen Hurts' strengths there.
All right, in Philadelphia, they kill Kevin Patullo, and it's not his fault. I think he's a
It's
good
not fair,
coach,
right?
and no, I think he's a good coach. You only can do what you only can do. It's like Chip Kelly, and I make this analogy. Chip Kelly he had to run what he wanted, and I still stay in touch. I like Chip, but I don't think he was a good pro quarterback, good
Right,
pro
right.
coach. But square peg in a round hole. He would say, "This is what I want to do," whether it was a comfort for that player or not. But the Eagles coaches are not going to put him in a situation where he's not comfortable. And that is probably part of the problem because there's not that many. The reason it's so predictable, there's not that many plays because it doesn't seem like he can run that
No,
many
it
plays.
goes back to that way. And I think they've realized, listen, this is the way he is right now, and we're going to work on it and try to get him better. But I think they also go, hey, if he just plays the way he does for the most part, and we play good defense and can run the ball, and he just doesn't turn the ball over like we saw in a bunch of weeks before that, you'd go, they're going to win the game, even with below average quarterback play. I think that's what's amazing. And then that brings us back to what I told you earlier. Yeah, like when I played for John Gruden, right? If I messed up a certain play or some simple plays in the offense, he wasn't going to go, hey, let's go to the more advanced plays that Brad Johnson's running. He was like,
Right.
hey, you're an idiot. You gotta beat doing these plays first. The beauty of New England, when I played for Josh McDaniels or worked for the New England Patriots, I mean, it was like, no. We're not going to the next phase of the playbook until we master these 10 plays right here. So yeah, that's not going on in Philadelphia. So you don't give the coach the confidence to go, oh yeah, let's add more offense and be more creative. They're thinking that's just going to add to more mistakes. And then on top of that, listen, Nick Sirianni didn't get this job because he went to the owner, Jeffrey Lurie, and was like, hey, I have 5 plays in my offense. Don't you think you should hire me? Like, hire me. I have 5. Yeah, I don't think Jeffrey Lurie was like, yes, we're going to hire you. You have 5 plays. That's great. No, they've had to dial it all back. I know the Nick Sirianni offense. It's very similar to what Shane Steichen did, and I'm sure Kevin Patullo wants to do more too. But right now, they're being handcuffed by the quarterback play, and that's an issue. And then, whether the quarterback wants more offense and more to handle, that's the other big question or issue that there's out there is that, I've been told by people in that building over the last few years, he doesn't want too much offense. He doesn't.
Correct.
So, right, I'm not lying here. There's
They've
people,
limited the playbook. They have really cut it down to the
yes,
plays that he likes. So
exactly.
when you get to
Right.
the second half, well, we know what that play is. We know what that play is.
Yes.
Yeah, and everybody else does.
Right, like the crow route the other night. Dante Jackson intercepts. I think it was the second interception of the night. Right, Dante
Right.
Jackson's just been around for a while. He's a smart player. He saw the play developing. He was playing off. He was playing zone. He goes, "Oh, I saw this play on film 40 times this week. He's about to run a curl. I could see the other guy and the route patterns, and I got a good feel. This is what's about to come. And as Devontae Smith is breaking down, he's already breaking on the ball because Jalen Hurts is staring over there too, and he's going, I know this play. So that's what happens. And yes, that's where it's unfair to the coaching. And, as I tell a lot of people all the time, like, I'm not making this stuff up. I've been told by people that have played there, worked there, still work there, all that. So I have that information. And then I also have football knowledge to watch the film, break it down, and go, wait, that's not right. That's not the way that play should go. And that's where we are right now in this convo.
Not that they haven't tried. If you were a coach and you worked with him, what would be one or two things that you tried that you think are his biggest deficiencies that you would try to work on to get him better, if in fact that's even possible?
Yeah, right. I think is this throwing in rhythm, like really, like what is a phrase I was always taught young in my career, marrying his feet to his eyes, right? Drop back, take a big 5-step drop. The first hitch, you look at the first read. The second hitch, you look at the second read, right? Those are where I'd start at least. Just listen to that because it does help you out. Because then when you start to move in the pocket, you're like, wait, I'm supposed to be, my feet are moved 3 times now. I shouldn't still be on the first read. I got to get to the second and third one. Holy cow. So they do talk to you that way. I think there's something to be learned there. The other thing is, I always say at times his throwing mechanics work his arm works as an independent contractor. And without me getting too into the weeds here, but you see him, he's got a little bit of the arm just kind of moves in a motion like this. Most good quarterbacks create opposites with their bottom and lower half. And then the arm just follows naturally.
So it's fundamentals. It's
His
fundamental.
fundamentals are not as top notch as some of the other top quarterbacks in football. And then again, as I would always say, or even, my dad said this to me young in my career, like if you don't have confidence throwing the ball and putting it where you want, you're going to start turning down throws and reads because you go, oh, I don't like that throw, or oh, it's a little tight, right? And so when your mechanics are really hitting on all cylinders, you go, oh man, I can make any throw, I can put it in this window, in this keyhole. You just asked me to do it. And I think that's sometimes he struggles in that department as well.
All right. The NFL, these guys aren't idiots with other teams. So they see things. They obviously, if they shut down the run, they say, all right, hey, you're going to pass. We want you to pass. and he's not a quarterback that's going to be able to throw 35 times and have success. That's
Right.
why one of the coaches told me last year, we want to keep him within 21 to 23 passes. And they could because Saquon and the offensive line were terrific.
Right.
Now you can't do that as much. Either other teams are doing some things, whether it's a 5-man front or the offensive line isn't as good. So now he's got to throw. So what are the other teams' defenses doing to try to really limit what he can do?
Right.
And that's really I think the issue.
Yeah, well, they're not as scared as the run this year, so he is seeing a little bit more pass coverage, right? And with the Chargers, they have some good pass coverages, and they're creative in what they do and all that. But so now, if we don't see the field all that well, and now we're also not getting the basic defenses that were about stopping the run and all that, it's like a double-edged sword that's happened a little bit in that department, right? And then the other thing, at least that good defenses do, and listen, I can still remember this 3 years ago, the first time the Eagles went to the Super Bowl to play the Chiefs. I remember that year. I got a bunch of friends in the NFL, right? I talked to multiple defensive coordinators that year, and there's still one phrase that just pops in my head that if we could just make Jalen Hurts play quarterback, we'll win the game. That's what they used to say. If we don't let him run and scramble and run and quarterback draw and do that stuff, and we keep him in the pocket and make him play the game there, we don't think he can beat us. And that's still, I think, a mantra throughout the NFL. And then the smart teams rush him the right way. They rush him and they don't run by him. They kind of mush the pocket. They stay in their lane and wait for him to break. And then they make it very hard on him to get around the edge and make a throw or make a run or do anything like that. And I think that's what, I'm seeing more of. But I think the biggest thing is not being able to run the ball. And he is seeing a little bit more pass coverage because they're just not as dominant in that department.
The media people, some of them are really brilliant. The question comes up every week. Why doesn't Jalen Hurts run? Why isn't there more running plays? Is it part of the fact, and I think you kind of touched on it, that the other teams are cutting off around the edge. They're cutting off the runs.
They're a little bit. There's a little bit of that. And listen, if there's another thing they can do in their offense, I love when they get underneath the center, right? I love that. And that Saquon go downhill. Downhill running is better than I'm in the shotgun and my first few steps have to go side to side, right? He lets them see cutback lanes, or lets them gain steam. The play action pass will be way better off of those kind of looks, right? The quarterback turns his back, fakes it to Saquon. Oh no, he didn't give it to Saquon, and now we got to get back in coverage. I like when they do that. I do think they need to run Jalen Hurts more. Now, that's another thing that I've kind of heard, that he doesn't want to do all the time as much as he used to back in the old days. But right now, they need it. And they need that element or something from him at the quarterback position that can start to make a defense bend in some way, right? What I always say about good offenses, they're elite at something. And then when they're elite at that thing, they make you over defend it, and it opens up everything else. And right now, Philly has nothing that they're really elite at, and teams don't have to overextend themselves and put themselves in vulnerable positions because of that.
All right, I'm going to let you in on a little bit, and you touched on it, and people talk about it. Taking the snap under center. Jalen Hurts, I was told, is not comfortable with taking the snap under center. And it's because apparently he doesn't feel he can see the defense as well. Whatever the case may be, Kellen Moore tried to do that a lot last year, and he wasn't comfortable.
They're made for it. But yes, go ahead.
Right. And then this year, up until maybe – it was a few games ago, they started and then they stopped.
Yes.
And maybe he wasn't, because he's not comfortable taking the snap under center. And obviously, play action is better when the quarterback takes the snap under center. So
definitely,
that's a little bit of him not being comfortable, and the coaches say, okay, if you're not comfortable with it,
I know. I listen. I heard the same thing, Howard. I know. I've heard that as well. And yes, what I want to say is, we all know we want to make the quarterback comfortable. Like, we get that to a degree, but playing quarterback and being a great quarterback and winning is not supposed to be comfortable. It's really not.
No,
I mean, I don't think my dad was ever comfortable one day working for Bill Parcells. Tom Brady, all the Super Bowls they went to, I don't think he was ever comfortable one day with Bill Belichick. It was always do better, do better. Here's more, keep up with us. We need to win this way. Here's more plays. Here's more of that. And so when I hear stuff like that, that's where I just go, yeah, that's just not the winning attitude. That's not going to get it done unless they can find other ways to be so awesome and hide that fact. But yeah, I've talked about this with coaches, everything. You think Caleb Williams is comfortable right now out there in Chicago? He's got Ben Johnson with a hot poker next to his ass every second of the day. But it's making him a better player.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I don't know what happened to where they feel like they can't push Jalen Hurts and make him do some of that stuff. And that's a little odd to me. But yeah, they're trying to color within the lines right now and make it all work.
Regardless of the quarterback, and Matthew Stafford it's an MVP season. Obviously,
yes,
he and the guy in New England right up there. But whatever the case, if they have to scramble out of the pocket, their eyes are always down the field. Do you feel that Jalen Hurts' eyes, that he's comfortable with his eyes down the field when he has to scramble out of the pocket?
No, he's not as good as some other quarterbacks. When he gets out, he's not that bad, right? What I would say is 2025 quarterback play. Okay, guy one's not open, guy two's not open. You see, again, Lamar, right? Mahomes, Josh Allen, they've mastered this, where they can move in the pocket and they have the gift of being able to see the rush and also see down the field. And listen, this was something that quarterbacks, back in the old days, they didn't do much of that at all, right? But it's part of the game now. And that's what quarterbacks, they grow up playing this way to a degree. My son's, he's a freshman in high school. He can play that way a little bit. So the quarterback position's evolved, and that's where I don't think he's as good as, a lot of quarterbacks in football in that department. Oh, there's a little pressure. Oh, wait, let me keep my eyes up and I can feel the pressure and move into the soft spot of the pocket and then still make that throw. his is kind of like, ooh, I saw something and I'm just going to get out. And it's like, no, the guy fell on the ground and Lane Johnson's sitting on him. He's not going anywhere. You can sit back there and still make a
Right.
throw within the pocket. And that to me is something he can work on as well.
When we look at quarterbacks, the people in Philadelphia, they had him in the top 5 until the Eagles have lost 4 out of they've lost. They're 4-5 in their last 9 games. So that's a pretty good, sampling. But the people look at quarterbacks and say, "Oh, he's top 5. Oh, he should be in the MVP conversation." Who would be your top? And I know Jalen Hurts isn't in there, but who would be your top 5 quarterbacks?
Yeah, right. Well, too much of the public just looks at stats and wins, right?
Yeah.
And that's where people end up being a bust coming out in the draft or any of that, right? Oh, look at Florida with Tim Tebow. Oh, all he does wins. His stats are good. And I want to be like, well, yeah, I could throw the ball 4 yards to Percy Harvey and then he runs for 80 and look good. Matt Leinart with the USC. Oh, here's a throw to Reggie Bush, and he runs around the field, and they go, "Oh, great quarterback play by Matt Leinart," and you're like, "What?" He threw a screen, and the guy ran 90 yards and broke 57 tackles, right? So he wins. He's a winner. Top quarterbacks in football. I mean, again, not having a top, or not having Mahomes.
They're all kind of the same.
Mahomes and Josh Allen and Lamar, right? If you ask me who to start a team with right now with the way they're playing, I'd go probably Josh Allen. Josh Allen's on fire. He's the greatest one-man band in the sport.
So you would think right now Josh Allen's the best quarterback.
I would say he's the best quarterback. I know Matthew Stafford's having the best year and isn't the MVP. I don't think there's any doubt about that, right? He's phenomenal. And you talk about pocket play, he's as good as it gets because he can't run it all. So he's got to do it all in the pocket. But, generally I looked at it and I've always said this, the Mount Rushmore for me is Mahomes, Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. They, to me, in most years here and recent history, have been head and shoulders above the rest of football at the quarterback position. And yeah, they're having some down years, and we know their teams aren't as good. But damn, they're still up there in that discussion for me, no doubt about it. But hey, like I said, Stafford, Drake May, Jordan Love has the potential to be that type of guy. You're starting to see him really get hot and play that way.
Well.
I think those are the guys that kind of jump out to me. I'm a CJ Stroud believer. Their offense isn't very good. They don't run the ball good or pass protect all that well. But don't be shocked if you see the Houston Texans in the AFC Championship game at the Super Bowl. That's a Super Bowl defense they got there.
Wow.
But I think those are, kind of the top guys for me.
Yeah, D'Amico Ryans, I think, does a great job.
Incredible.
And great guy, great job. And I thought he would do well when he got there, and he's now turned that team around.
Totally.
If you look at and we'll look at the NFC. If you look at the NFC, your top 4 teams.
Yeah.
And I don't know that the Eagles are in there right now.
It's they would have been all year for me until just recently, like you said, with the way it's looked. But I think the NFC is really good this year.
Yep.
Right. I mean, I'm almost a little bit of like, I want to go. I'd be shocked if the Super Bowl winner wasn't an NFC team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm certainly going to go Rams 1, right? In no particular order, but I'll definitely say Rams 1. The Seahawks and Green Bay Packers are 2, 3, right?
Yep.
And, that's where you get into like Tampa's not playing great, right?
Nope.
I think San Francisco is kind of a mirage with great coaching and solid Shanahan. They're beat up. They're actually in a rebuild mode, and they're doing what they're doing. Honestly, right now, with the way things are going, I'll give Detroit the edge over Philadelphia. But that's a close one right there. I think that would probably be my top 4 in the NFC right now. And my thoughts. This is what's crazy. Nobody praises the Eagles more than Chris Sims. Nobody. I said in like week 13 last year, I said the Eagles are the best team in the sport. I said before the playoffs I said the Eagles will win the Super Bowl. The Chiefs will no way be able to beat the Eagles. What Howie Roseman has done with that team is incredible. So I still give them hope to turn this around, right? But where I go crazy is that everybody else in the organization gets blamed except the guy that's probably most, worthy of being blamed.
You know what? It's interesting when you look at it. Anybody could kind of get lucky in one game.
Yeah.
Dallas screwed up by losing they lost to a good team.
Right.
But I thought Dallas might have been better than the Eagles because they got their defense better. Not
Exactly.
great. They
Right.
got their defense better, and their offense. I'm not a Dak fan, but he's playing well.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I don't think they're going to make the playoffs now. But I don't know that Dallas, if they had straightened that out earlier, wouldn't be a better team right now than the Eagles.
They're scary. They have, to a point of what we were talking about a few minutes ago, they're elite in some areas, right? Their drop back pass game and the plays they can make there. So they can make a team, the opposite team, I'm sorry, that's my dog barking. They can make the opposite team bend
Right.
and do things that they don't want to do on that side of the ball because, oh no, we're worried about George Pickens and CeeDee
Right.
Lamb, and it opens up so much offense. So if they got in, they'd be scary and dangerous. But as I look at it right now, I think the Rams, the Packers, and the Seahawks are playing the best ball in the NFC. The Seahawks are real. I know nobody's going to really buy into it until they see Sam Darnold play good in the playoffs, and
Right.
I get that. But they got a ferocious front on defense. They got one of the best secondaries in football. They got two playmakers in JSN and Rashid Shaheed, a receiver that are special. They're patient with their run. They're well coached. Like, it's a different year. I tell people, like, don't be shocked if you wake up on Super Bowl Sunday and the Seattle Seahawks or the Rams or the Packers are in it, playing the Patriots or somebody like that.
Yeah.
It's that's what makes the NFL awesome. We don't know what the hell's going to happen here.
All right. I'm going to close this out, giving you a chance to take a shot, which you don't mind taking shots, at Notre Dame. The haven of hypocrisy is South Bend, Indiana. The whining that's going on because they didn't get into the 12-team field. So I heard a stat the other day during COVID, they had to join the conference, which they won't do, the ACC. They were 9-0 in the conference, lost the playoff championship, lost the championship in the playoffs, and still got selected as one of the top 4 teams at that time in the run for the national championship. So they just got to shut up and stop whining. But your alma mater, University of Texas, had a little bit of they had 3 losses, but they did beat one of the teams, which Notre Dame didn't, in the top 12 in Oklahoma. So,
all right.
do you buy all this whining from Notre Dame?
Well, no, I'm going to be one that whines with them here. So you're not going to
Oh,
like
no.
me. All right. So here we go. I'm going to lay it out for you. All right.
Okay.
First off, all right, Notre Dame, they are college football, right? So I understand them being a single entity. I really do. And all these other schools would, if they were Notre Dame, they'd be like, oh, shut up, we're not joining a conference. So they can kiss my ass with all that talk. All right.
Okay.
All right. Also, Notre Dame doesn't want to go to the ACC and join that conference and have to share a revenue with Syracuse when they're going, wait, we make more than the whole conference and you want us to share that with Syracuse or NC State? So I thought we're in the capitalist New York, America. I thought that's where we are. So I fight against that. This is the way it is in college football. Notre Dame can get away with it, yeah, because they were, a premier college team for basically since the start of time. But that's just, I'll say in that part. All right, now I do believe they deserve to be in the playoffs. They had the 2 toughest first games in the year by any college team. They went on the road with a freshman quarterback and lost by 2 points to Miami. And then they played a team that was in the top 3 the whole year, the second week in Texas A&M, who needed a miracle to beat them on the last play of the game. All right. So yeah, they lost those 2 games. I get it. I bet you if they played right now, they wouldn't play. And again, that's what it's about. It's about where we are right now. Now, Miami lost to an unranked Louisville team at home in the middle of the year, an unranked SMU team, and then everybody's in agreement that the ACC is the worst conference in college football. They didn't even play in the conference championship game. They weren't good enough to get there, and then they got to go to the final 12, and that's not against Miami. My point is that Notre Dame can win the national championship. That's the point, and they're being left out. And then we're going to talk about strength of schedule, and we're going to put Tulane and JMU in, who I'd go, are you kidding me? I mean, all the teams, if they got to play those schedules, they'd got undefeated. So we got to stop.
But they had to include those 2 teams.
I know. Well, we got to stop. I want the 12 best teams. I don't want Bandcamp, blue and red ribbons.
If that's the case.
So
but
I
the
get
strength
that.
of schedule for Notre Dame
I
They play a
know.
bunch of high school teams. I mean,
Well,
give
they
me a
got
break.
unlucky. Well, they got unlucky this year. You know how it works with college football. They schedule these schedules 5 and 6 years in advance.
I
Now,
know. I know.
Notre Dame's never run from anything, right? I mean, it was Miami and Texas A&M. They played Ohio State a few years ago. They've had Michigan. They have USC on their schedule every year. It's just some of those teams are down right now, and they've gotten a little unlucky.
Well, they
But
could join. They could join a tough conference. You're going to tell me that forget about the ACC.
yeah,
If they wanted to join another big one of the power
yeah, sure.
conferences, they would find a way to get them in there.
Well,
So
maybe I hear you there, but again, that gets to the money thing, and that's a deeper conversation because yeah, we don't want to share money with Ole Miss. They're like we're way bigger than Ole Miss. They're going to take piece of the pie from us. But so let me get you now. Ole Miss, they're missing their number one key on their whole organization.
yeah, the
Their
coach.
head coach, who everybody goes, that's what makes the team go. They don't drop a spot. Alabama gets their ass whooped and hasn't looked good in 7 weeks.
Conference championship games, and that's an extra game. That's an extra game.
Okay. Oh, so now the conference is a bad thing.
You shouldn't
Oh,
have the
it's
conference
good.
championship games. I mean, they're
I,
ridiculous.
I
They're
like,
ridiculous.
I like it. If Alabama just stayed competitive and lost, I'd have no problem with it. But when you get blown off the field and the team basically goes, we're whooping your ass, we give up in the fourth quarter, you shouldn't move up a spot when you could have lost to Auburn the week before and all that. So I'm a little bit of a Notre Dame defender. All right. So
I
that's where
know.
you and we'll end our friendship right there.
It is the haven of hypocrisy, South Bend, Indiana. I mean, I was out there, and I don't know what year. What year were you born?
I was born in 80.
Okay, 80. So you were a kid. I was out there, the Catholics versus convicts,
Yeah,
because I was
sure.
tight with the University of Miami program. Jimmy Johnson was there. They got screwed out of that game. The officials took away that game.
Totally.
Cleveland Gary did not fumble the ball.
Exactly right. No way. He was down.
And that was Notre
right.
Dame's only national championship in how many years?
Yeah.
They got
Well,
a national championship
I
that
get
year.
you. I get you. Well,
It's-
hey, listen, Notre Dame, to their credit here, and this is where I'll push back against you too. Lou Holtz got exceptions on those teams that were
Yeah.
academic exceptions.
Yeah, I know.
As you know now, Notre Dame, if you're not top notch in school, you don't get in there. I don't give a damn who you are. That's the
Okay.
way they are. So I respect that. But here's one last thing for you. And this is one. Their secondary didn't get healthy until about the last 4 or 5 weeks of the year. Really good secondary. I believe they have the best offense in college football, right? That's really where I'm disappointed too. The best player, best offensive weapon in college football was Jeremiah Love this year. Their backup running back might be a first round running back. If not, he's a top 40 pick, right? They got NFL receivers. It's an NFL quarterback, NFL offensive lineman, and a big time NFL tight end. So they got it all from that standpoint. That's where I was a little disappointed because I'm a little bit just at the end of the year, I want to see the best 12 in, and I did think they were the best 12. And I just saw a thing in Vegas that said out of the 12 teams in the college football playoff, if they lined up against Notre Dame would be favored by Vegas in 8 of those matchups. So I think that says a little bit too there.
All
But
right.
they are a little, listen,
They're whiny. They're whiny.
they've snuck in a few times when they shouldn't have in the past, and I hear you there. And they've gotten the benefit of the doubt a few times because of their name and their history and all that. So I hear you.
I'm going to send them a whole bunch of cheese to go along with all that whining that's going on in South Bend. That's right. I won't hold it against you, Chris. I still
All
love
right.
you, and I really appreciate your time. Thanks. It's fun to talk to people that aren't afraid to say what they see or what they believe, and that know what they're talking about.
Thanks, Howard.
And you are really you're in the, I don't know where to put you, but you're not far. You're in the top 3, and I don't know if you're not number 1. Kurt Warner was pretty sharp. You're pretty sharp, but 2 football guys that know what they're talking about, and I appreciate it. Thanks,
Thank
Chris.
you, Harris. Thanks for having me on, buddy. I'll talk to you
thank
soon.
you.
All
Talk
right,
to you
buddy.
later. Take care. Chris Sims. I can't believe he sided with Notre Dame. Oh my gosh. I can't believe he sided with Notre Dame. Unbelievable. All right. Let me again thank my presenting sponsor, who is a terrific guy and knows his stuff. Jeff Stillwell Financial Advisors. And the number to call for Jeff, 732-343-0813. Changing times. I mean, interest rates are moving, which means your investments kind of sometimes move and change what should you do, what shouldn't you do. Jeff Stillwell can help you at Stillwell Financial Advisors. Also, I want to tell you about it's a great deal. You're looking to buy an automobile, Audi Westchester. Audi Westchester right now, 1.99%. You see that if you're looking at it? The 2025 new redesigned A5, 1.99%. Where the hell are you going to get that interest rate? Anywhere. You get it at Audi Westchester. And the all new 2025 Q5 SUV, 1.99% financing. This is Merry Christmas early from Audi Westchester. Great people, fun to go out there. The dealership's great. You'll have fun when you go to 1421 Wilmington Pike. Grab a cup of coffee, grab some snacks, talk to the people out there. It's a fun place. You will have fun and great deals and a great selection of vehicles. Also, you want to improve your property, whether it's the backyard or the front yard. You can do both, front yard and backyard, because they do it well both ways. Piazza Property Pros, 25 years of experience. Hey, listen, the back, you can do a pool, you can do landscaping, hardscaping, excavation, fencing, pool maintenance. If you have a pool, if you're thinking about a pool, these are the people. 215, that's not 215. Let me give you the number again, 610 566 2608. Give them a call. Exceptional people. They don't subcontract. Give them a call. Schedule a free consultation, 610 566 2608, or check them out, piazzaoutdoor.com. What a great conversation. And it's a conversation. It's not an interview. We're just, going back and forth, and can't believe he sided with Notre Dame. But whatever the case, thanks again to Chris Sims. All right. Now, there's some other things that we need to deal with. First of all, let me just address some of the comments. I'd say about 40% of the people wanted to just crap all over Chris Sims. He knows what he's talking about. And the moron that said, what did he ever do in the pros? He's just jealous of Jalen Hurts because he's a better quarterback. That has nothing to do with how well he played as a quarterback. He knows what he's talking about. Sometimes people are really, how many coaches are great coaches that never really played football or played that well in football? So stop with that's just such bullshit. Some of you people are just flat out idiots. He's just trying to critique it. He's got no axe to grind. But all right, so we dealt with that. I've got a deal, and if the Eagles don't win on Sunday, they ought to cancel the season. That team, the Raiders, stink. But I'm not sure they're going to score the kind of points they need to. Well, they should score. I saw the total. We'll talk to Mark Lawrence about it on Saturday. The total is really low, and the Eagles should get no less than 24 points in the game. It's a joke, but we'll talk more about that Saturday. But I want to deal with the Phillies. Okay, so the Phillies, as we speak right now on this show, signed Kyle Schwarber officially. But what's interesting, I saw some comments on social media that there's a percentage of fans that aren't happy with that. Kyle Schwarber is really important to that team. Kyle Schwarber is really the only leader in the clubhouse. And you heard me correctly. He's the only real leader in the clubhouse. So he's important to the team. But I'm going to throw something else in the mix. Pete Alonso signed basically the same year contract, same amount of years, and basically the same amount of money. And he's 1 year younger. Would the Phillies be better? And this is something maybe we can talk about on Saturday. Would the Phillies be better? Not that Kyle Schwarber is not an important part of this team. Would the Phillies be better if they signed Pete Alonso rather than Schwarber, because they could have put, and Bryce Harper, it's not reality. Bryce Harper won't go to right field. He can say do whatever they want. He's not going to right field. He's already told him he doesn't want to go to right field. So Pete Alonso at first and Bryce Harper in the outfield. You'd already be better. They're looking for an outfielder now, and they're going to trade Alec Boehm, who I think is their best contact hitter. But two players I know they're looking at. One from the Angels, Joe Adele, who this last season, had 26 home runs or 37 home runs. He's 26 years old. Hit 236. They don't care about guys that hit for average. So they're looking at him. And at 26, I don't know that you're going to get him for Alec Boehm. And they're looking at Seattle. That's a possibility, too, for Alec Boehm. Randy Rosarena, who had 27 home runs last year, hit 238, and he's 30 years old. By the way, Pete Alonso's numbers are better than Schwarber, except for really better or the same, except for home runs. But why couldn't they sign Pete Alonso? Keep Schwarber. Who cares about the money? Keep Schwarber. Do what the other big city teams are doing. Keep Schwarber, sign Alonso, put Harper in right, and say, Bryce, hey, listen, we signed you for 13 years. You got 6 years left. You're going to right field. End of story. And how much better would they be if that was done? So they're going to, and Castellanos is not going to be here. They might have to eat most of his contract to trade him, from what I'm told. They might have to eat most of his contract, but they will get rid of him. I guarantee you they'll get rid of him. All right. Let me tell you who the winner of our Chickies and Pete's gift certificate from the last show, Mark Hildebrand. Mark answered the question, and Mark Lawrence brought it up, that Notre Dame, there's not much parking, so people park on the other people in the neighborhood, their property, their driveways, their lawns. And Mark Lawrence said, and I'll say allegedly, some of that money, a percentage of that money, goes to Notre Dame. Now, there's some people have disputed that. Any way that Notre Dame gets money, I'm not shocked at. But anyway, that was the answer, that Notre Dame gets a percentage of the money from parking in the area. And Mark, you had the correct answer out of other people's correct answers, and you were selected at random. We will, in just a short while, give you a question to win a pair of Oakley sunglasses. I call them a pair. Why do we call it a pair of sunglasses? Win Oakley sunglasses. It's just, but I'll give you the question shortly. But I don't know what the Phillies are going to do. I don't know what the Phillies are going to do. I mean, let's put it this way. I have an idea, some of the things I've been told of what they're going to do, but I don't know that they can get much better. So if they trade Boehm, Sosa will probably play some at third. The guy they have in the minor leagues is not ready for the big leagues yet. Do I want a part-time third baseman? No, I want somebody that makes contact, which they don't have a lot of people in the lineup that do that. But I think that's going to be a mistake. But they're going to trade Boehm and Castellanos. So now they need to get an outfielder, and they will do that. But I don't know how much better they're going to be, because Wheeler's probably not going to pitch for a couple of months. And that's okay if he comes back strong. But that injury he had, that blood clot or whatever it was in his shoulder, is no joke. And sometimes it's hard to be the same player and pitcher that you were. So we'll see. I just don't know what. And there's also the Phillies have offered JT Realmuto a contract. How many old people do you want? And I have nothing against, but in athletics, it's important. And Realmuto's a good catcher, but they have other catchers, and they're looking at other catchers to trade for if they don't get Realmuto. I don't think you can bring basically back this whole team and think you're going to have a chance. You'll say you have a chance, but I don't think they have a chance to win a World Series if they bring basically the same team back. They'll lose Suarez, but they'll get somebody else. And the other thing we haven't touched on, Andrew Painter did not have a good year in the minor leagues. Pitcher they thought was a can't miss. They did some different things. They changed some things. One other thing I want to mention, there's many things I want to mention, and we'll do it on our next show too. But if people listen to the Eagles news conferences, and people in those in the media just ask questions just to be heard, I want the next time you listen to a news conference, it's on social media, whether it's the Phillies and they had one with Schwarber, but most people listen to the Eagles. When you listen to it, listen to how many times a reporter happens at least once each news conference. A reporter says, "Hey, whomever they're talking to, I'm just curious." What do you mean you're just ask the goddamn ask the damn question? Just ask the question. I'm curious. Well, you're asking a question because you're a reporter. Just say, just ask the question. I hear it every news conference. I'm just curious. Oh, I'm just curious. I'm just curious. Well, you know what? That's such a weak, amateurish way to ask a question. I'm just curious. Oh, I'm just curious. Oh, I'm just curious. You're not curious. Ask the question. You're asking a question because you want an answer. That drives me crazy, and I hear it a lot. Um, I'm going to leave it with this. The Eagles had Hard Knocks, and I don't know if they're still going to be there. Had Hard Knocks in for a couple of weeks. I don't watch the show because it kind of bores me most of the time. You're supposed to get inside content, what people say, what they do in meetings. And the Eagles, somebody brilliant, and I think it was the head of PR, somebody brilliant decided, oh, put a big bunny rabbit in the locker room, a motivational type bunny. Look at this. This is what they had they took it out. Took it out because they lost the game anyway. I think they wanted to distract Hard Knocks and have, oh, look what look at the fun the Eagles have, and they have a bunny in the locker room. And then they lose the game in the worst way they can lose it at the end, and especially in overtime. So the bunny has been removed from the locker room. But what the hell was the bunny doing there in the first place? And they probably got rid of it because Jason Kelsey didn't like the bunny. Oh, Jason Kelsey, got to get the bunny. Well, if Jason Kelsey says it, you got to get it out of there. Should have never been in there. Whoever's idea that was should be spanked. Should be spanked and told, that person should be told, never come up with an idea again. Never. The bunny. The motivational bunny. What a joke. I mean, it made no sense. Oh, 2-game losing streak, and you're going to bring in a bunny. Now it's a 3-game losing streak. This damn bunny. The damn bunny. All right. Here's the question to win the Oakley sunglasses. Chris Sims said there's a lot of good questions out there. What does a defensive coordinator want Jalen Hurts to do? That was interesting. The issues that he would correct, that was interesting. But the question I'm going to use, because we always deal with the quarterbacks, and we were talking about quarterbacks. You know, I asked him and I asked Kurt Warner his top 5, but I asked him and I kind of pinned him down on who he thought was the best quarterback in the NFL right now. Who did the motivational bunny? Bad Bunny. Yeah. Put the motivational bunny at the Super Bowl with Bad Bunny as the entertainment, because it wasn't very entertaining, the motivational bunny. So the question, and I pinned him down on who did he think is right now the best quarterback in the NFL? I can give you a hint. He didn't think it was Jalen Hurts. So if you answer that question correctly and your answer is selected from the correct entries at random, go to my website, howardeskin.com. Have your answer in there by Friday, this Friday night, December 12th. Saturday, we'll have Mark Lawrence on and take a preview of the bowl games and, of course, the pro card this weekend. The Eagles, I'm going to ask him about the over-under number. It's only 38. Wow, that means the odds makers don't think he's going to score a lot of points. But let me not get distracted here. Answer the question correctly. We'll announce the winner December 13th. That's this Saturday, 8 a.m. for the show. Live on X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Subscribe to YouTube, and you're notified immediately when the show comes on live. And you can always go back and look at it. So and we'll select a winner. And thanks again to our wonderful sponsors and the presenting sponsor, Jeff Stillwell, Stillwell Financial Advisors, Audi Westchester, and Piazza Property Pros. And thanks to you for being a part of this show. A lot of people said they enjoyed it, and that's a good thing. It's just that's a good thing. A lot of people said they enjoyed it, and that's important. I mean, this this moron is moron. God loves me. Okay. It's just, don't put the answer up on the chat room. I just eliminated the answer. Let people know. Let people know who it. Where am I here? I just want to get this straightened out. So, but answer the question. Go to my website. All right. Damn. All right. Anyway, a little pause here. People, idiots, don't answer it on the chat. Answer it by submitting the answer to my website. Thanks to Joe Gangemi for helping me out technically on the other side. Thanks to Tony Anastasia for all the graphics and the work she does with all the graphics. And thanks to you. And certainly thanks to Chris Sims. Great conversation. You got to respect the guy a little bit more. You know, you people in Philadelphia don't like him. Get over it. He only speaks with the knowledge that he has. And thank you, and you for riding with the king and joining the Howard Eskin Show.
Yes, K-I-N. Oh, yeah. Hey, you turn it up, Philly. It's time to roll on the ones and twos, taking full control. From the link to the X, from the sixes to the fields, one voice cuts through, giving you the real. He broke the stories, he started the fire, launched the whole game back in '86, never retired. Heroes crown him, yeah, they call him the king. Fur coat flashing, bling bling in every ring. He's the hardest working, great talking dog. Call in with your tape, but don't get it wrong. He'll call you a nitwit if you're acting a fool, but deep down you love it. That's the Eskin rule. Riding with the king, yeah, we're riding with the king. Howard Eskin Show, let the truth ring. Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, he knows the deal. Philly sports royalty, bow down and kneel. Riding with the king, put your hands in the air. From South Philly streets to the Delaware. No filter, no fear, just the facts on the mic. It's the Howard Eskin Show. Let's go get sight. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king.